I would say we have a CI. What about it? Everyone has to decide for themselves. You have the opportunity to work. It's easier with CIs. If you don't want to have a CI, that's just fine too. Then I just take the CI off. I'm deaf. One thing I have to add is that with a CI you are and remain deaf.
Personally, I don't think there is such a thing as a CI identity. In Austria, this group of people is too small to my mind.
A CI identity is not necessary, because we live with hearing people together.
I personally don't think they have a different identity, because they adapt to the hearing world. There are also those who prefer to stay in the deaf world, those who are in both the hearing and the deaf worlds, and those who adapt to the hearing and deaf worlds. It is very different.
A CI identity? Linking those two words together is interesting. Well, in my opinion, no such thing exists. Just because I wear a CI doesn't mean I've developed a distinct identity because of it. And identity develops together with linguistic development. Depending on the specific environment and language, I believe that identity develops through language. As a deaf person with a CI, you become a person who is hard of hearing. You'll never be like another hearing person. At least I will not. Others may be, maybe with young children or small children maybe. What is the right gesture for maybe? Maybe I don't know. I really can't answer that question. I think it's important to give small children access to deaf culture right from the beginning and teach them sign language, because then communication is barrier-free and they can develop naturally. Later the child will feel at home in both worlds. As a young girl, my understanding of CI was that it makes it easier to find work. I would have the chance to understand everything that was said to me without gaps and be able to talk to people on the phone. I can telephone, but only with a few people. I can't talk to strangers on the phone, but I manage with friends and with my family. After some time, things turned out differently, and it surprised me. Why aren't two options offered? One option to have CI and see how the user gets on with it. And the second option is to use sign language. I was not shown that there are deaf people in our society living their everyday lives. Take a look around deaf events or learn sign language. There is a language which you can use to talk to a deaf child.
Well, I have to say that the doctor should tell the truth in my opinion, and not make promises. When I tell a deaf person aged 40 who has never heard a thing that you will get a CI and you will hear in 2 weeks, that's the wrong approach.
I have friends who also have CI. They said that I should also opt for CI, but I was really afraid of the surgery. They forced me to go through with it, and now I'm happy because now it's easier. If you're given both options, then you can decide for yourself how you would like it to be. You can choose both or opt for sign language and the deaf community only. It slowly got better with time. However, even today, I still have to lip read.
I have to be honest, there are technical aids and tools that I can use. If I don't use them, I have to find something else. Lip reading or sign language, for example.
In my opinion, CI is merely an aid. It doesn't make me a hearing person. Hearing people often get the wrong idea, thinking it's like putting on glasses. That's it. People think the same about CI. Put them on and you're hearing, and that's simply not the case.
About 300 Cochlea operations are performed in Austria every year. But you know, we do not know which companies. There are 3 big companies and 1 small one. So there are 4 companies in Austria. We don't know which companies operate, which means that we cannot approach people and ask which implant they have.
I cannot distinguish the numbers 1, 2 and 3 acoustically from one another, because I got my CI when I was older. My brain hears everything, but I can't handle it. I find it difficult to differentiate between sounds.
It's about privacy laws. Unfortunately, we mostly don't find out about negative operations either, so there are not really statistics on the subject. At least we have not experienced it yet.
It's my opinion, and I think it's a shame, that deaf people are somehow deceived and misled to believe that CI will make them into a hearing person. It's like abuse to my mind. The CI marketing shows only advantages, but CI has not worked for some deaf people. And this gets swept under the carpet. Both sides need to be shown. CI is not a solution.
I grew up with CI and have had a lot of experience of using amongst both hearing and deaf people and how it leaves you feeling. Both deaf and hearing people should learn to understand each other and support each other. It should not be the case that only deaf people help hearing people. Also, hearing people should help deaf people by learning sign language.
It's often claimed that CI is a cure. No, it will not make you healthy again. It's a tool for communication in the hearing world. It's important to differentiate. It's a technical tool, but it has nothing to do with identity. And language, nothing at all. CI does not make me a hearing person. I was 11 years old. I got my CI 10 years ago. I was 9 years old when I got mine. What happened exactly? At that time, CI was not so common, and I was one of the first people on which cochlear implants were tested. My parents informed me and we talked about it. The doctor took the view that I would be a good patient for the operation because I was deaf. My mother asked me if I would like to give CI a go. The doctor told me that in the future I'll have better chances of finding a job with CI. He said I'll be able to communicate in spoken language, be able to hear normally and be able to talk to hearing people without problems, because I will understand everything. Yes, my mother asked me if I would like to have CI. When she showed me an unattractive advertising poster of the old CI in a bum bag, I was unsure. At the beginning I refused, but then the doctor informed me my speech language development would be better with CI. So I thought about it and decided to give it a try. It's difficult for me to say if back then I made the decision myself or if my parents influenced me. Influence is the wrong word. If they took the view that the proof of the pudding is in the eating. 4 years after my CI operation, I was 14 years old. I felt I had to decide, did I want to keep my CI and continue with listening and speaking training? The pressure had already taken over. I didn't feel very good. I then told my mother that I no longer wanted to use CI. This marked the end of the chapter for me. I would wait until the child can decide for him or herself. Some don't want it and some do. It depends. It's hard to say. You can take your time to have the operation. It's also possible when you're 10 or 20 years old. I don't think CI should be done on a baby. There should be spoken language training, but I can also use spoken language. What does it matter? Spoken language and sign language should be learned in parallel. It's important to be able to express yourself in spoken language too. I can't remember how the doctor made me aware about CI exactly. It was too long ago and I forgot. He explained to me how the operation would work and told me that I would hear and understand better afterwards. You have to ask the parents.